Hey guys, it's Sarah, the wine-loving bookworm, back with another book and wine review for your Monday evening. Sorry I missed yesterday. I was watching the Super Bowl, watching the Patriots win again, so I didn't really have time, since it started pretty early, to do this yesterday. So I figured to do it today, and today has been a really long, exhausting day. So let's jump right in. First, the wine. I've been trying to try out some different things. I'm trying to stay away from California wines, as I may have mentioned before. So we went with New Zealand. Oyster Bay, Sauvignon Blanc. So it's a white wine. And it is twist off. I love twist offs. Okay, so let's give it a shot. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. I've noticed lately that sometimes when I have Sauvignon Blancs, they're coming on a little bit strong. But this is actually nice. It's kind of mild. So, Oyster Bay from New Zealand, Sauvignon Blanc. Give it a shot. Okay, so let's talk about the book. I read Girl Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. And like I said before, if you have been living under a rock, then you probably have heard about this book. It's all over social media. So she is, well, let's start with the book. It's a self-help book, basically. I mean, kind of, I guess, motivational book, I suppose. Rachel Hollis started off as an event planner in Los Angeles. She says she moved there when she was 17 from Weed Patch, California, which is somewhere near Bakersfield. Her dad was a Pentecostal minister, and she moved to LA into the party scene, so that was kind of strange, and I guess that's, it's always the minister's kids and the cops' kids, right? She built a company called Chic Media, and she has, I think it's called the chicsite.com. Let me look at it again. Yeah, the chicsite.com, which is her website, and she's basically a blogger, lifestyle, blogger. I don't know exactly what you call it, but she's built a pretty big media company, content geared toward women. She's about 36 or so, I think, maybe a little bit older. And she has 4 kids, 3 boys and an adopted girl. So she talks a lot about her life experiences. I'm sorry, there's like a moth in here. Okay, back to the book. She talks a lot about her life experiences as a mother and as a wife. And she also is an author. She wrote a series called The Girl, like, seriously, I mean, she wrote a series called The Girls series. And it's about a girl in LA who is her, basically, comes from a conservative background, Christian, and making her way through LA. So it's fiction, but based on her life. And then she wrote this book, and then she's also coming out with another book, I'm not sure if it's out yet, called Girls Stop Apologizing. So that's Rachel Hollis. Basic outline of the book. Every chapter talks about a lie that women tell themselves. So this is for the women, guys. Things like, something else will make me happy. I'm not good enough. I'm not a good mom. I should be farther along by now. I should be past this. So all of these things that we kind of go through in our heads. And I think maybe a lot of people do it, but her book is, males and females, but her book is geared toward females. But, everybody kind of second guesses themselves and wonders if they're doing the right thing, if they're on the right track, have they wasted their life, are they a good parent, are they a good spouse, whatever. So she kind of starts every chapter off with a specific, lie we tell ourselves, and then goes into why we tell ourselves these lies, why they're lies, and what we can do about it. And she talks a lot about her experiences. One of the things I like is she's pretty frank and doesn't really hide much. She talks about how she met her husband and how he was kind of a jerk to her for a long time. But now they've been married for a long time, I don't know, like 15 years, whatever. And she talks about her brother committing suicide, which was extraordinarily traumatic for her. She talks about her relationship with her father. Not a lot of stuff is off limits here. So let's go into the obvious. Some of it, this is not earth-shattering stuff. You're not going to be like, oh my gosh, this is stuff we know. Don't base your worth on your weight. Don't let a man tell you what to do. Be successful, go for your dreams. Okay, this is all stuff we've heard before, but I feel like she does it in a different way. So you can call it trite, you can call it like just regurgitated nonsense if you want. But if somebody, this is stuff that's true though, right? I mean, this is stuff we should be doing. So if someone's saying it in a way that gets through to some people, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So despite some negative reviews, which I'll touch on later, that say she's preachy, I didn't find her preachy at all. I found her very relatable. I found her very down to earth. Maybe it's because I'm a mother of 3 kids, one that's in college now, 2 that are still home, and at one point they were all home. So I do find a lot of her stuff relatable, and I didn't think she was preachy. I didn't think she's trying to tell you what to do. Kind of the opposite. Like, whatever you think is right is what you should be doing, is kind of her main theme. So I had to think really hard about whether I liked it or not because of all these things. Like, yes, I don't really like reading a book that's like, go for your dreams. And some parts were a little, when she talked about running the Disney Marathon, I was like, ugh, like a little cheesy, a little like, motivational speakery. I mean, that's what she is, but, very cliche, I thought, and I didn't like that. But there were other parts in the book I really liked, and I thought she presented it in a way that did kind of inspire you and want you to be better and go after those things that you're afraid to go after. Things that struck me personally that she talked about. I mean, moms and drinking. Hello, wine. You come home, you're stressed, you're working. I'm a working mother. You come home, you got to cook dinner, you got to clean the house, you got to take care of the dogs, you got to take care of the kids, you got to do homework, you got to make lunches. You're stressed. Why not reach for a glass of wine? And a glass of wine becomes 2, and then later on you're drinking more. So she talks about that very frankly, and I mean, I'm in that boat too. You're stressed from the day, and you reach for a drink instead of, doing whatever else you could be doing. So that was very relatable to me. And all the negative self-talk that you engage in, and how people tear down everybody else, which I'll touch on a little bit later in her negative reviews. It was very funny how it was like what she was saying was playing out about her own book. So the negative self-talk, I mean, I get into that. I'm sure you guys get into that. I should be working out. I should be eating better. I should be making more money. I should be more successful at my job. I should have gotten a promotion by now. My kids should have eat all organic. Whatever it is, we all have that stuff running through our heads. And then we tend to judge other people too because I think it makes us feel better. So she talks about that. And the one thing that the one chapter that really struck me was when she talked about her relationship with her father. My father, rest in peace, has been gone for about 1.5 years now. But we always had a pretty tenuous relationship for a lot of reasons. I knew he loved me. I knew he was proud of me. But he never really showed it too much verbally, and he was a hard worker, so he respected the fact that I was a hard worker, although sometimes he didn't like what I was working at or what I was doing. We clashed on politics. We clashed on a lot of things. And it was like she was writing about my relationship with her father, She loved him. They had a good relationship. But he just didn't know exactly how to be that warm, loving person. And that's how I felt with my own father. So that really struck me. And I remember specifically, I ran a marathon a couple years back. And my dad was always negative with me with running because he thought it would hurt my knees, it would hurt this, it would hurt that, I'd get sick. He was researching like if I'd have a heart attack while I was doing it, So there's I know he loves me, but he's also being negative towards me. And after my marathon, he actually posted on my Facebook and was just like, I'm so proud of you and congratulations. And I was blown away by that, because my father's not necessarily that kind of person. So I really related to her on that. So let's move on to the negative reviews. Let's see what she did here. She's making a positive book about chasing your dreams, about not being afraid, about letting go of all those worries and concerns and fears you have and just being who you are. Is that a bad thing? With all the hate and vitriol and just everybody attacking each other in this world, is it just not something that we like? We think it's stupid because we think people should be hateful and spiteful and mean? I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, if somebody finds something in there that makes them become a better person, why is that bad? She never says anything negative about anybody. She's trying to build people up. She's trying to empower women. So when people jump and attack her, I almost think, well, do you see yourself in some of those lies? Do you take it as her attacking you, but she's not. Like, if you look at it objectively, she's not. She's just telling her own experiences and what she experiences with women. So, one of the reviews in particular was like, well, I would never listen to what a mommy blogger says anyway. And I was just like, mommy blogger? Like, she owns this company. She's written books. She has this, like, these conferences she does. She's been very successful. You're calling her a mommy blogger? And in one of the chapters, the one actually about her father, it was something about, women try to make themselves small and downplay their accomplishments and don't think, try to be modest all the time. And she said, I would always refer to my blogging as my hobby instead of my job because I just felt embarrassed or weird that people would think this is my career. And here's a woman tearing her down saying she's a mommy blogger. She's not a mommy blogger, okay? Like, she blogs about being a mom sometimes, but she's not a mommy blogger. She's a very successful CEO of a business, So to me, like, why would you say something so hurtful like that? Like, that's just mean and spiteful. I don't know if it affects her. It probably does. But it was so funny the way the stuff she talks about in her book was, like, literally playing out. So, and the other side of it is she's a Christian, and the Christians were attacking her too. The review I read said she was misinterpreting scripture, which I could go on for years about that, but I won't tonight. That we can't accept others how they are, if they're Muslim or they're Jewish, because they have to be Christians. That's a familiar refrain. And she thinks too much of her own success. I'm a Christian. I was raised Catholic. I'm not really practicing anymore because I have a lot of problems with organized religion for a lot of what... Oh, there's that freaking moth again. I mean, Lord. I have a lot of problems with organized religion for a lot of those reasons that I just read to you. And I feel I've run into my own hypocrisy with Christianity. I was raised Catholic. My dad was divorced when he was a Catholic, so he wasn't, technically allowed to receive communion. You don't have to show him your card or anything, but he was technically not allowed to receive communion. So he'd always sit in the pew while everyone else went up and got communion. And me, being a child, was like, why can't you do that? And my father explained it to me, and being divorced is just a big sin, and he had to get his marriage annulled through the Catholic Church, and he refused to do it because he had a son with that woman. And he felt like it would be disregarding that he was born legitimately into a marriage. So I would worry as a child that he would go to hell because of this. This is what churches make you do, make you worry about these rules that men created. I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but I really feel it's a rule that a man created. And you're making my father's child, me, a daughter, worry that she won't see her dad in heaven. There's a lot of stuff wrong with that. I'm not going to go into that, but let's think about that hypocrisy. And my dad would always say, I'd ask him, like, well, if someone's in Africa, they never knew who God or Jesus was. Like, how can they go to heaven? And my dad would always say, and this is a very controversial statement in very conservative Christian circles, that if you're a good person, you're a good person, and that's all that matters in this life. And I still believe that to this day. And I still appreciate the fact that he, gave me that insight and gave me that perspective on the world. He always tried to make me feel better and not try to scare me into being any sort of Christian, but wanted me to do it on my own, So, and let's think about who Jesus was. He said, love your neighbor, not judge your neighbor. Don't judge them, basically, is what he said. And Jesus hung out with the outcasts of the world, not those self-righteous people sitting in their glass houses. So that may offend people. I know that may offend conservative Christians that I'm saying it, but it's what I believe. So I do not believe that our God is such a hateful and spiteful God that he would send you to hell because you got divorced, or send you to hell because you lived in Africa and never knew about Jesus, or were raised Muslim. And basically it's how you're raised, right? That's what a lot of people are when they're older. They're living in a country that's Muslim or Jewish or whatever. That's what you are. So I do not believe that. And I think them attacking her for she's a Christian. These people are Christian. You're telling her she's not the right kind of Christian. It blows my mind. Blows my mind, some of that. That's hypocrisy to me. I don't even have the words for it. I mean, attack her for other reasons, not because she's sitting there saying she's a Christian. You're saying you're doing it wrong. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? So anyway, I had a lot to say about this book. But my bottom line is, she is an inspiring person. You read her, you can't help but be inspired. She's saying positive, empowering things. That's not a bad thing in this world. And I think we've gotten so used to the hate, the anger, the attacking, that when we see somebody trying to spread good and happiness and empowerment and loving yourself, we instantly think there's something wrong with her. So I think that's what's going on here. And that was like kind of my thought process through the whole thing and what I finally came up with. So that's my review of Girl Wash Your Face. And if you didn't figure it out, I think you should read it. Again, I think she's inspiring. I mean, she built a company. She never went to college. She moved to LA when she was 17. She is doing well for herself. So, I mean, that's obvious. Okay, so next week, another probably controversial book. I'm going to read Michelle Obama's biography, Becoming by Michelle Obama. And I'm not a political person really, and I'm not going to focus on politics. I don't care if you love her, if you hate her, if you're ambivalent to her, love her, hate her husband, whatever. Think he's Muslim, think he wasn't born in America, whatever you think. I don't care. I'm going to read it as a book and as an autobiography, and that's where I'm coming from. So that's it for me tonight. I am so tired. I'm going to go to bed. Cheers. Get yourself some Oyster Bay Sauvignon Blanc. Make sure you don't have moths in the room when you're trying to do a YouTube video. And I will see you next week with my review of Becoming by Michelle Obama. Cheers.